Hey guys, Miss Jessica here, and welcome back to day 3 of our December daily draws. Now today we are going to be making a wreath. A wreath is usually made up of plants, maybe even sticks, in a circular shape like this. Now during Christmas time, often people wrap bows and ribbons and different kinds of things inside. So we're going to be doing that today. What we're going to be needing is paper, our chalk pastels, markers, and a pencil and Sharpies. Now, I have 2 different kinds of Sharpies, but you can just use whatever you have. Let's go ahead and get started to draw. So when you grab your paper, turn it vertical up and down, and somewhere at the top, I want you to write number 3, because today is day 3. And grab your pencils. Now, just like always, you're going to use a pencil, but I'm going to use a Sharpie. All right, let's go ahead and get started with our wreath. Now, we're going to need a circle. If you would like to trace this, you may. You don't have to just freehand it like I'll do. Maybe a bowl, you can turn it over, or a small plate of some sort. So I want you guys to grab your pencils, and somewhere in the middle, let's draw a really big circle. Now we want to make it a nice big wreath today, so you do want to make that circle pretty big. I will give you a little hint here. We're going to be erasing this circle later, so don't press too hard, and again, don't use a Sharpie, use a pencil. Once you decide that circle is big enough, we're going to add one more inside of it. Please make sure at any time during this video, if you need to stop and do something again, or just take a little more time, please pause and press play when you're ready to move on. All right, now inside we are going to add our smaller circle, so if you want to grab a smaller bowl of some sort, but go ahead and add that. It should look like a really, really skinny big donut. All right, now like I said, we will be erasing this, so we're going to draw on top of our lines here today, so stay with me on this. We're going to begin with our bow in the top left corner. Now our bow is going to be big, so don't draw it teeny tiny, make it as big as you can. For the center of the bow, we're going to draw a rectangle. So I'm going to put 2 lines for the top and bottom. Notice how one goes above my wreath and one goes inside of it. Once you get that shape, go ahead and just connect it together. All right, now you've probably drawn a bow before, but I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a little tip on some things to do. So I'm going to start on my rectangle, and I'm going to draw 2 curved lines coming out on the right side. Again, nice and big, and then just connect that together with another curve. You guys have maybe done this before, then jump over here and draw 2 more curved lines coming out and connect those together. Now that's a pretty cool looking bow. You're more than welcome to keep it just like this. Maybe that's all you would like to add today. That's totally fine. But if you would like it to make it bigger, follow me. We're going to make those same lines again, but we're going to start at the top, go to the middle of that rectangle, draw your line going up. Now we're going to go to our bow here and draw a small one and connect those together. So we're going to add 2 of these on the top. There's 1. I'm going to draw 2 more lines, 2, connect that together, nice and big, and 2 more on the bottom. So I'm going to go from the middle, curve my line out, small one on the side, connect it together, and 1 more. These are overlapping, so they're on top of each other. You can't see the whole ribbon. And that, my friends, is going to be the big bow at the top. We'll add more ribbon down at the bottom. But for right now, awesome job. We are going to start to add some of the leaves and a little bit more of the ribbon. So if you want to try again, please do. But awesome job. Also, we're going to erase inside any lines we see, but don't worry too much about it now because we'll do that in just a little bit. All right, now I'm going to have you guys jump to the bottom right corner. We're going to add a curved line, kind of at the very bottom, move up a little bit and draw 1 more, not quite halfway. Now, between those 2 lines, notice how they're kind of curved, we're going to draw 3 more. 1, 2, notice how they're curving like C's, and 3. This is where the ribbon is being wrapped around the wreath. So go ahead and finish that. We don't want it to go all the way up, just at the bottom. The rest is going to be plants and leaves and all those good things like in December. But I am going to draw some ribbon hanging down. Now you guys can do this any way you want, but I'm going to make 2 lines that come down and make it look like it's pointing, and 2 more lines coming down next to it and make it look like it's pointing down. So again, you guys can change that up, make it look however you want, but that's going to be our bow and ribbon for the wreath today. So go ahead and finish that up. Please make sure to pause if you need to. Now for our leaves, we're going to be adding lots, but you might notice, I'll bring this back so you can see, there's going to be some empty space in here. And see, there's some green. We're going to use chalk pastels for that. So don't worry today if you start to draw and you're like, I need more flowers and I need more leaves. This isn't enough. Don't worry. I will show you how to fix that. So let's start on the left side. I'm going to go right next to my bow here, and I'm going to draw a really big leaf. So I'm going to go underneath, and I'm going to draw my leaf going down. No right way to, or wrong way, I should say, to draw a leaf. Just add the center. Let's do 1, maybe jump to the inside, 2, and you guys can add as little or as much as you want. Maybe you want to put flowers. Maybe you know some Christmas flowers or little holly berries. That's going to be up to you, but I'm just going to leave it leaves because I like the contrast of the green and the red. So I'm just going to continue to add more leaves all around. Again, they don't have to be right next to each other. Make them nice and big. Have them start inside the wreath and go out. So go ahead and just take your time. Add a couple leaves, again, nice and big. And try not to have it go near the ribbon. We're just going to leave that alone. No leaves will be there. And once you kind of make your way down, notice I only added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I only added 7. That's all I really need. I can jump up to the right side and I can add some more. So I'm going to draw some more big leaves coming curling up and down. Can't forget to draw the centers. That's super, super important. Make some a little skinnier, some a little bigger. All right, let's see. I'm going to add maybe one here. So again, no wrong way of placing them. And I'll do one more right here. All right, now go ahead and finish up your leaves. I'm going to be done for now because we're going to add more still. These are just our big leaves, so spread those around. And in these empty spots you see, we're going to fill in with different kinds of leaves. So please make sure to pause your video, finish your big leaves, and press play when you're ready to move on. Now we're going to be making pine needles that kind of look like they're flying or falling off of your wreath. So let's go over here, maybe in an empty space you see, and we're going to draw a straight line going down, nice and long. Now on the left and right of it, we're going to draw some lines that come down. They're kind of diagonal, just like that on both sides. So we're going to be filling that in all over. Maybe I'll add one here, curving up under my ribbon, adding my diagonal lines up and some going down. I have a big space here, so I'm going to add another really big one. Draw my diagonal lines coming out, almost like a palm branch in a way. Maybe one right here. So let's just go ahead and add some in those empty spots you see. I'm going to put something else there. Let's jump to this side at the top. I'll draw a nice, really long one up here on the right. Adding my diagonals. One more maybe in this empty spot. You don't need a whole lot of those lines either, just a few on each side. And I'm going to do one kind of hanging down over my ribbon. I think that'll look kind of cool. Just one there. And maybe one right in the middle. All right, now I feel like that's pretty good. I don't want too much. It might look kind of busy. So please go ahead and finish up yours. And when you're done, again, press pause if you need to, but press play when you're finished. We have one more type of leaf we're going to make. They're small leaves. So I'm going to show you guys up here at the top. I'm going to draw a little curvy line coming out and one more next to it, kind of like a branch. And at the end, I want you to draw a little tiny leaf. You could also make these tiny flowers, maybe these are little berries, that's up to you. And you can just start to spread those around anywhere you feel like you need a little bit more things to kind of fill in that space. So maybe you need one over here. You can do 3 or 2, up to you guys. Maybe you need one over there. So anywhere you feel like you have some space, go ahead and add some of those little tiny leaves. But that's going to be the end of our drawing for our wreath today. You guys did a great job. It was a lot of work, so I hope you just took your time, pressed pause if you need to, still take some more time to do so. I do want to show you though what it will look like after we trace it. So now we have all this pencil. We're going to trace all the lines we want to keep. That means we're not tracing the circle we made at the beginning. Let me show you what it will look like. Once you trace and erase that circle, it'll look like this. You might notice some of my lines are very light. That's because I used a thin Sharpie, but you guys can just trace with a regular Sharpie. So let's go ahead and grab something to trace with. I want you to trace your ribbon, all your big leaves, the little pieces of pine branch, the smaller leaves coming out. Trace all of it, but again, erase the lines for that circle we made at the beginning. Please pause and then press play when you're ready to color. All right, guys, awesome job. Please make sure you're completely done because it's time to color with our markers. So go ahead and grab yours out. You might have different kinds. I do. I even have some Crayola markers I could use. So grab out what you're going to use today, and let's start with our ribbon. Now for my ribbon, I'm going to make it red and white, like a candy cane. You guys can do any color you want. I also want to remind you of our color scheme. We're thinking about reds, greens, blues, and a little bit of black and white as well. So let's start with a red for me. Again, you can use any color you want. I'm going to start on these little parts of my, not flower, I wanted to say that looks like a flower, of my ribbon. And I'm just going to color every other one. So notice how I outlined, and I'm just going to fill that in very nicely with my lines here. Then I'm going to skip and hop to my next one. Now you got to be careful because if you have an odd number of ribbon, then you're going to have some colors next to each other. So I have 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that's going to be perfect because then I can skip again. So hopefully you do 2. And you can color all those in, or just color the whole thing, maybe red or blue or something like that. I'm going to leave the center white, but then I got to jump down to here. And I'm going to do the same thing again where I'm going to color every other one. So I'm going to outline and fill those in. And then same thing for the little pieces of ribbon that are hanging down. I'm just going to decide which one I want to color, which one I want to leave white. I'm going to color this one red and leave my other one white. But please go ahead and finish up coloring in your ribbon. I know maybe some of you colored the whole thing, so it'll take you much longer. Please pause, finish that coloring again. You guys can do any colors you want. Next thing, I'm going to start to color my big leaves. I'm going to make my big leaves a dark green. So I'm going to use my dark green marker, and I'm going to go around to every big leaf, and I'm going to outline and fill that in. So take your time. I do recommend coloring all the big leaves one color. So that way you know, oh yes, those are all the big ones, and then you can use other greens for the other leaves that we've made. Now maybe you have light green, dark green, maybe you only have one green, that's okay. You can just use that one green, not a problem. So we're going to fill those in all the way solid. Maybe you added more or less leaves than me. Just keep coloring all those really big ones first, so we don't miss any. Try to get all your white spots too with those markers. Outlining like I'm doing first always helps to make sure there's no white spots left. And then I go back and get all of the lines nice and even and straight. All right, so I just have a few more left, but keep coloring yours if you need to. Next, I'm going to be choosing a color for my small leaves. My really small ones. And I think I know what I'm going to use. All right, so now that I'm done, I'm going to grab a lighter green. I have this nice light one, and I'm just going to use this one to fill in all my really tiny leaves that I see all around my picture. Now, I know they look kind of dark on my screen here, but I promise you it is much lighter than our bigger leaves. But again, if you only have one green, just fill all of those in. not a problem. So just go around. If you have flowers as well, this is a really good time to color those in. I do recommend thinking about a color scheme, so maybe a red or even a pink would look really good. Think about Christmas colors or just this time of the year for winter. We have our winter colors. Now once you're done with the small leaves, if you have one more green, we're going to trace these little pieces of fern. If you don't have to trace them. You can leave them or just choose another green you already used. But in my Crayolas, I have this kind of army looking green called iguana green. That's a good name. And I'm just going to go around and I'm just going to nicely, as best I can, trace those lines for my little fern leaves. It doesn't have to be perfect, so I don't have to get every single line. Just adding a little green helps us know what those are. And just those little fern ones. Still adding some more of those diagonal lines. And this is going to be our last marker step. So please make sure to finish up all the marker that you see. And then we're going to be using some chalk pastels to finish our daily draw day 3. All right, guys, awesome job. Go ahead and put your markers away when you're finished. I'm just going to close mine up. And grab your chalk pastels. You can have a big kit or a small kit of chalk, whatever it may be, not a problem. I'm going to start with my bow, actually. We're going to add shading. Now, if you used red like me, to shade with a red chalk pastel, it's hard to see it on top of the marker. So there's 2 different colors you can use. The first one is brown, and the second one is purple. Now, I'm going to use brown today. As you can see here, it makes it look a little darker, but purple works really well. It just might be super dark. So maybe test it on a piece of paper to find out which one you like the best. But I'm going to grab my brown. And if you remember from yesterday, if you joined us, we're going to use our edge. So I'm going to hold it like a pencil. And not going to use the pointy part, but I'm going to use the flat side next to it. And on all of the red pieces on my ribbon, I'm going to trace the bottom and the right side, the bottom and the right side, the bottom and the right side. And if you have those little curved lines in the middle of the bow, please trace that as well. Now before you blend anything, jump down to the bottom. We're going to trace now the left side and the bottom, left side and the bottom, only where the red is, left side and the bottom. You may put that away when you're done. Please pause if you need some more time to trace. I know you might have filled up your whole thing red, so you need a little extra time. But once you're done, you're going to take one finger and you're just going to blend in a little circle into the red and try not to get onto the white part of your bow here. You just want to blend into the red, adding a little bit of a shadow. If you feel like it's too much, maybe you added a lot of brown or a lot of purple and you just can't quite see the red anymore, don't blend anymore, just leave it. You can shake off the extra dust in the trash can. And you can use a clean finger, so maybe grab a wipe or go wash your hands real fast. I'm going to wipe mine off real quick. So a clean finger. And you can go back and just kind of blend some more of that. And I'll kind of make it disappear with now a clean finger. Or if again you're like, it's just too dark, I can't see, take your eraser and erase some of that chalk dust away that you don't want anymore. So erasing, you can erase chalk dust just a little bit. We still want some of that left behind. All right. Now we're going to do the same thing again with the white, but this time we're going to use a light blue. Now if you're still working on the red or maybe use different colors, use whatever color you need to. But I'm going to grab my light blue and do the same thing again. So up here I'm going to do the bottoms and the right, bottom and the right, bottom and the right. I'm going to do the bottom of my center of my bow, just the bottom, not the top, and the left and bottoms of all the white parts at the bottom. So go ahead and just do the same thing with the blue. Take one finger and blend it into the white. You're going to see it starts to look like a white bow, but it has shading on it. Great job. Go ahead and continue to blend. Again, do the same thing, clean finger to kind of get some of the blue away, or use your eraser if you feel like you just can't quite see the white. But awesome job, guys. We only have one more thing, and that's going to be green for the wreath. Remember, I told you we'll put the wreath back. So grab a dark green. Just want to be able to see it. We're going to lay them flat. It's a little hard to see. We're going to lay them down flat on our paper and pinch and pull. So watch first. I'm going to pretend I can see my lines for my wreath. I know they're gone now. Excuse me, but I'm just going to go over the green of all my leaves here. And I'm going to stop when I get to my ribbon. I'm going to do it on both sides, almost like I'm drawing it again. There's a little spot here. Now you don't need too much. And then when you're going to put that away, take your 1 or 2 fingers and just blend all that in, but don't let it go too far because we still want it to look like the wreath is kind of behind it, but now it's green like the plants. And that, you guys, is the end of our project today. So if you have some dust, shake it in the trash can. And there you have a beautiful Christmas wreath. If you need to clean up any of your edges, take that eraser. If you see any smudges or fingerprints, erase that chalk away, or maybe some of the brown or blue got onto the sides, and you will be done. Just tap some of that off. And we're officially done for today. Go ahead and wipe off any hands, maybe run to the restroom and do that real quick with soap and water. Put your chalk pastels and markers all the way away, and great job on day 3 of our December daily draw. My name is Miss Jessica, and I'll see you guys again soon. Bye!